content presented in this podcast is based on real events and may contain graphic descriptions of violence, sensitive topics, and explicit language that may be triggering, offensive, or sensitive subjects to some viewers and listeners. Discretion is advised. The purpose of this podcast is to explore and discuss true crime cases for entertainment and educational purposes only. This podcast does not intend to glorify or sensationalize crime, but rather aims to analyze and understand the complexities of human behavior in the criminal justice system. We encourage listeners to approach this content with empathy, critical thinking, respect for the victims and their families.
Imagine you're spending a regular day at the biggest mall in America, just shopping, walking, maybe grabbing a snack. Then in a split second, everything changes. A mother screams, a child falls 39 feet from the third floor balcony onto hard concrete. No pulse, no breath. Bystanders freeze, but one woman, his mother, drops to her knees and starts to pray. This isn't fiction. This is a real-life story of Landen Hoffmann, a little boy whose fall from the Mall of America in 2019 made headlines around the world. But what most people don't know, though, this story goes far beyond the headlines. It's in the realm of miraculous. So with that being said, it's time to start the show. Let's hit it. Hi, welcome to another episode of Mysteries, Mayhem, and Merlot. I'm your host, Wendy Schrader. Tonight, we're bringing a close-to-home story for me with Miracle at the Mall, the true story of Landen Hoffmann, who survived being thrown 39 feet from a balcony at the Mall of America. Now, this is a powerful book written by Landen's mother, Kari Hoffmann. She reveals how God warned her of this tragedy before it even happened, which is really I find that very fascinating. But how past events had unknowingly prepared her for this exact moment. Now, in the face of horror, faith ignited a chain of miracles that even baffled the doctors. So I would like to welcome Kari to the show. Welcome to the show, Kari.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay, so the story starts off in tragedy, obviously. Now, April of 2019, you went to the Mall of America. Were you celebrating something like he had a good
Yeah.
conference or something like that? Okay. So it's just now the Mall of America, if nobody's been there, that place is massive. I mean, they keep building onto it. But I go to the mall. We during during COVID when things started opening up, we would go to the mall and walk and play Pokemon. It's a spot for that, and just going there, it's just kind of fun. You have an amusement park in the middle of it. You got all these fun stores, and you guys were at the Rainforest Cafe, and he was looking. And now the Rainforest Cafe is pretty cool. They have electronic animals moving, the alligator. I think they had like a butterfly that opens its wings. It's pretty cool, and it's fascinating for kids. So you guys were just standing by the Rainforest Cafe. What happened when the incident took place? Like, were you guys just standing there and he just came up and grabbed Landen? I don't understand how he could do that.
Yeah, the mall wasn't open yet. It was like 9:45 and the mall opened at 10. So we were waiting to get into that Crayola factory that's right there next to Rainforest Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were standing on that rock that has the alligator inside it, like a moat. It smokes and the alligator comes up and opens its mouth. They were looking over the rocks there at that alligator and it wasn't on. and nobody was really around except for me, Landon, and then this mom that we were with and Landon's friend. So there's just 4 of us just standing there waiting for that store to open. And
Okay.
then this man just came up and leaned over the rock with the boys. And so he, I really thought he worked there. It really looked like he worked there. It was April, but it was snowing that day. And so we all had winter coats on. And he had blue jeans and a white short sleeve t-shirt. And so I thought, well, he must work here. He was leaning over the rock and looking at the alligator and whispering in the boys' ears. And I thought, that's kind of funny that he just came up and is talking to them. So I wonder what he wants. So I kind of went over there and said, I wasn't too far away. I was just right behind them, but I just like walked right up to Landon and I said, oh, excuse me. Do you not want us to stand on this rock? Because there is a sign that says, please don't step on the rock, but you can't really see it unless you step on the rock. So they were stepping on the rock. And he said, no, it's okay. You can step on the rock. So I thought, okay. So I like backed off a little bit and started talking to the other mom again. But then he was really leaning over far and whispering in their ears again. I couldn't hear what he was saying. And I said, you're going to turn the alligator on? And then he said, I don't know. He like mumbled, looked at me, smiled. And right when he did that, he picked up Landon and ran. Like he was waiting for his opportunity to pick him up and run.
Oh my God.
And from that rock to that balcony is probably like 5 feet. It's not far.
Yeah.
So, I mean, probably 10 feet, probably 2. I'm 5 feet. It's probably 2 of me. So he had that plan. Like that's what he was trying to do. And later I did learn from the other little boy that did not get grabbed. He told his mom that the man was saying, if you don't get off this rock, I'm going to throw you over the edge. And the boys were laughing. They were giggling. And so they thought it was a joke. And that's why I thought everything was fine, because the little boys were laughing. And I, they were probably like, what are you talking about? But that's what he was saying.
Wow. That I don't even know what a kid would like.
No, they just giggled because they were like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. Like telling a kid, if you don't get off the rock, I'm going to throw you over the balcony. They're like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, we're having fun here.
And he was whispering, so I couldn't hear him. And he looked kind. Like I was tricked.
Now, so he grabbed Landon and just took off running.
With him under the armpits and just chucked him as hard as he could.
I can't imagine watching that. That
No.
just I don't know how as a mother I can't grasp that. And you went through it. But so what was your initial like reaction? I mean, like I don't even know what I would do. I think I would
my initial reaction was to get to Landon. Like I didn't care. Like I was definitely in shock, but I reacted immediately. Like,
okay,
get me to Landon and pray. I just yelled out to God. I really had a feeling before I drove there. It wasn't on my way there, but it was as soon as I pulled into the parking ramp. I got a really strange feeling. And I always kind of got a feeling going to the Mall of America just because it's a really large tourist attraction. And so I always thought there could be a terrorist attack here, So I always was a little bit worried that maybe something could happen. And if I was always aware of like, if something did happen, where would I go? And so I kind of knew, but that day I got a really strange feeling. So I prayed before we entered the mall just for angels to go before us, to protect us everywhere that we go. Just to make sure that we are safe. And so I just, thought that I thought it covered us. And so when Landon was taken, I immediately thought, this is Satan. And I said, devil, take your hands off of him. And I ran down those escalators to Landon screaming, somebody threw my baby, everybody pray.
Good.
What happened was there was 2 children's hospital Minneapolis nurses were on the 2nd floor at the balcony waiting for a store to open, saw him fall, saw me scream, and came right behind me.
Oh,
that was not an accident either, I believe. I think
that was
like an
intervention for sure. Yeah. Because you just happen to have some nurses. It's like those scenes, like when in the movies when somebody's having a heart attack on a plane. Is there a doctor on the plane?
Yeah.
There's always a doctor on the plane. So it's like having those nurses there. Yeah, that felt Yeah, divine
And they work
intervention.
in the cardiac unit in the children's hospital. They work in their job is to give CPR all day. That's what they do every day when they were
Oh,
there.
wow. So when you got to Landon,
Hmm.
I can't
Yes.
imagine what the scene was like,
You know,
but
that is what
you
I can't remember.
oh,
That's blacked out
did
to me.
out.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it has to be traumatic to see your child laying there broken, and
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do.
I did
Uh,
run to him and pick him up, and they did yell to me, "Put him down." I
yeah.
don't remember. I do remember picking him up, but I have no idea what he looked like or anything.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yes.
and that's your initial reaction is to grab your child. It's just in case his neck is broken and things like that, you have to
Yes.
keep him still. So,
Yeah.
so the two nurses they immediately start medical care for him. Now, what were you doing while you're watching him give your son CPR? I mean, were you just praying? I mean,
Yes.
because that's really all you could do.
That's all I could do. I knew that I needed God. So,
Okay.
yeah, there was one. So they were giving CPR, and then there was a third lady there who was also a nurse who was so kind, and she grabbed me and she was keeping me away because I guess I kept trying to go over there, and she was keeping me away. And she said, "What do you need?" I said, "I need everybody to pray. I need everybody to pray." And I looked up on the balconies, and there was 3 levels up, and people were just crowded around staring. And I just yelled up there, "Everybody pray! Please stop staring and pray." And there was a
Right.
man on a second level who like locked eyes with me and said, "I got you." Like he just did this to me. And I felt
Yeah.
like, okay, there people are praying, people are helping me. And then I heard those 2 nurses, they were yelling, "Okay, we got a heartbeat." And I ran over there. I'm like, "Yes, we got a heartbeat. Everybody keep praying." And then they're like, "He
Yeah.
took a breath." And I'm like, "Yes, he took a breath." I was just rooting him on to fight,
Yeah.
to live, and just telling
Mm,
everybody to pray. I was not going to let him die.
right. Now, okay, so obviously they're doing then the ambulance gets there.
Yeah.
Which hospital was he taken to? Was he taken to Children's?
Yes, Minneapolis Children's.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, so obviously, now the perpetrator, Emmanuel, he ran off and he tried to get on the light rail. They eventually caught him. Thank goodness, 'cause
Yep.
I have a feeling like he probably would have gone somewhere else and done the same thing somewhere else, like he was
Well,
on
I'm
a
sure.
rampage.
Yeah, he had
And
said the day before that he went there to kill a woman. That's what he wanted to do. That was his plan. He was there trying to pick up women and was denied, denied, denied. So he told the police that he wanted to kill a woman. It did not work the night before, so he came back the next day to kill a woman.
okay, so he said he was gonna why did he pick Landon? Did he
I
say
think he
why
couldn't.
he
I think he couldn't get me, so he got him.
Oh god, that's awful. That is
Yeah.
just awful. Okay, so now Landon's at Children's Hospital and his recovery, I mean, he had skull fractures, broken arms, broken legs, I'm assuming broken ribs. I mean, what was the extent of all of his injuries once he got to Children's and they assessed him?
He went face first, so he like caught himself like this, and so he
Mhm.
hit his head. His frontal lobe was injured, so that was the part of his brain that was injured, which I guess is the best part that you can injure because you can injure your frontal lobe and still have your whole personality back, walk, talk. Um,
Yeah.
what it affected was his be more impulsive as he grew up, which he totally was. He went into this really shy and quiet, sweet little boy, and he came out loud and wild. But we don't they told us that's what was gonna happen, and it totally did. But,
Oh,
and it did take me a long time to get to mourn who I lost and,
yeah,
have this new boy. But in the hospital, I mean, when I learned that, I did not care. Just I was gonna get him back, and that's all that mattered.
yeah,
But yes, he, shattered his arms and elbows the most. His nose was smushed, like, all the way into his face and then hit the top of his head right here. He has a scar right here.
mhm,
Um, broke his left femur and then um, had his spleen emergency removed, hurt his liver, hurt his kidneys. All of it was repairable, except for
right,
the spleen was removed. He lost his spleen.
yeah. Now, obviously, you guys are very faith-based, and this is the stuff that got you through all this. I
Oh yeah,
mean, the trauma, just knowing that your child, was injured that way, and now you have like you said, you have a whole new child to
yes.
deal with.
Hmm.
how has faith got you through all this? Because,
I mean,
most
yeah,
people would look and say, why does God hate me?
yes,
What
I
did I
know.
do to deserve this?
I never looked
But
at it like that. No.
I mean, yeah, immediately your faith kicked in and you were asking people to pray, and that probably played a huge part in the
Oh,
recovery of Landon.
absolutely.
Now where is Landon now? Like, how has he recovered from all these injuries?
He's so good. He just got home from a golf lesson, and people just can't believe that he can do everything that he couldn't do before even better. He's just
Wow.
there's nothing left. He's got a stent in his heart. I guess
Mhm.
that's an injury I didn't tell you that when he fell, his vena cava had ripped off from his heart. The main vein or artery going to his heart had ripped off and
Mhm.
was hanging on by a thread. So they never thought to check that the whole time we were in the hospital for 4 months, but he kept getting worse and worse because of that injury. They never thought to check
Uh-huh.
that because you cannot injure that and be alive. So that was a miracle. But he was in bed, and because as he was in bed, that vein was reattaching itself, and it was
Okay.
getting tighter and tighter and tighter as he was laying there. And so he was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And they did
Okay.
not know that for 4 months. 4 months he got a CAT scan, another CAT scan. They saw that vein is the size of a pinhole. If we don't go put a stent in
Mhm.
there right now, he will die. They did put an
Wow.
adult size 10 millimeter stent in there. Blood came rushing back. He was healed, and we got to move on to Gillette. That was the main injury that had happened. And
Wow.
now they have written a book at Children's Hospital, like, if you have a patient with a chyle leak that will not stop, check this. It could happen because it's never happened
Oh,
before. Yes. They're like,
okay,
you
so
could,
that's like another divine intervention that
yeah,
his injury now could save more lives because
yeah.
it was an unforeseen injury that they didn't
They
even think
never
to
thought that you could injure that. If that rips off, you're dead. But it was
Mhm.
hanging on by a thread and just reattached slowly.
Wow, that's
Yeah. I
amazing.
know. There's so
That's
many miracles.
amazing.
There's so many. Yes.
Oh, and the outlook that you have on life now, after an incident like this has to be more beautiful, more
Oh, so beautiful.
precious,
So
and
thankful. Yes.
yeah, I mean, I can't imagine the trauma he went through. Now, has he had any type of, uh, PTSD or anything like that?
He doesn't remember it happening at all. All
Oh,
he
good.
remembers is waking he was intubated for 11 days. So,
Okay.
then when he woke up, it took a long time to talk again.
Mhm.
Um, Even a couple weeks, I was like, "Is he ever gonna talk again?" And nobody ever had any answers, but I really think it was because that tube down his throat for so long, it just hurt so bad, and it took a
Yeah.
while to come back to who, but he did eventually, but he doesn't remember any of that, and the whole time that
Mhm.
he was in the hospital after those 11 days and after we finally got him started to talk and be himself again, it was we made it fun. We made joy in every day. So he loved the hospital. He wants to go back. When can we go back? He thought it was the best
Eh,
time. Yeah, he doesn't
yeah.
remember any of the pain, any of the surgeries where he was intubated after, he doesn't remember any of that. So all he
He just
remembers is
thinks
the fun.
the fun parts of the hospital. Yeah, I've been hospitalized a few times, and there are times where it's actually kinda nice to have people wait on you all the
Yeah.
time.
I mean,
Bring
he
me
loved
food.
Yeah, all the doctors and nurses, the therapies were fun, come in your room, help kick a ball, kick a beach ball, play a game, have a
Mhm.
popsicle. He had to learn he broke his jaw too, so he couldn't eat or have anything for a long time. So then when he could finally have a popsicle and take tiny little sucks of it, it was like the best thing ever. He loves that big, huge rainbow popsicle. That's his favorite
Yeah.
memory. Yes.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of funny how it's like those little small things that you
Yeah,
pick out, and it's just like, "Oh, this is the best popsicle ever." I'm sure
ever.
that's what he was thinking. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh,
So
now
no, he does not think of it bad. He thinks of
well,
it
that
as, "What a
that's
miracle I
good.
am. God saved me and I'm alive, and that was so fun. Can we go back and do that hospital stay again?" That's what he thinks.
It's just like thinks
Yes.
this is a whole, like, a vacation or
Like,
something.
and I was in his
Um,
bed every day, and he loved that. I never left his bed.
oh, you guys had, like, little sleepovers and stuff? Oh,
I
that's
just
sweet.
stayed in his bed. Yes,
And this just shows you whether if you're faith-based or whatever, anything positive
absolutely.
can help heal. I deal with
Absolutely.
a lot of health issues with my autoimmune diseases that I have. And a lot of times I literally go on YouTube and watch comedy,
Yeah,
like snippets and stuff just to get me out. And it actually makes you feel better. So I'm
I
sure
agree.
having your faith in God, the positive reinforcement that you kept giving Landon each and every day while he was in the hospital. Probably, I'm sure it did. It played a
Yeah,
huge part in his
yep,
recovery, and that's great that you guys, are a family like that, that you're strong and are there for each other.
yeah.
Now, when it comes to Emmanuel, the perpetrator, which we'll go into that a little later in the show, what what is your thought? Where are you at with him?
I
Have
just
you
don't. Yeah, I don't
okay.
go there because I right away that first day in the hospital, or the first day in the hospital when he went out of that ambulance into the life saving room, and then came out
Mhm.
of there, I fell to my knees and I said, I forgive that man who threw him, because I don't believe he had anything to do with me or Landon. He was
Yeah.
just there. He was hurting himself. He must have no love, no mother who loves him, no family who supports him. I don't know. He must be hurting badly.
Mhm.
But I wanted to focus on Landon and Landon's healing. So I forgave him to remove him from my mind, because I wanted to give
Good.
him to God, and
Right.
God can deal with him. And if he can, God can also forgive him and change him.
Mhm.
And I pray that he does. But I don't go there with I don't think about him.
That is a good trait to have, because especially when you're going through something this traumatic, and the healing and the recovery for poor Landon,
Yeah,
having that in the back of your head, that's just gonna fill you with more negativity, and then you can't exude that positivity for Landon. So that is a very good trait to have, to, push things
absolutely.
aside and just to say, "I forgive him," because obviously, and like I said, we'll go into this, but he had a lot of mental illness issues that were untreated and
Yeah,
undiagnosed, I'm sure.
and
And
not
this
getting help. Yeah.
right, and
Mhm.
mental illness that is a huge problem in this country, and it's not being addressed properly. And
Mhm.
when it's not, stuff like this happens. And
Absolutely.
yeah, he wasn't. I mean, he didn't like. I'm gonna go and find a
No.
boy that's 5 years old. He had
Saw
rage.
him and yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Mhm.
that's scary to know as a parent that I could be anywhere with my children and that could happen. And
Mhm. I mean,
I
I
almost
could
feel
say
like I
wrong
want
place at
everyone on a leash.
well, I know, but I could say wrong place at wrong time, or I could say right place and right time, because I think that God showed the whole world a miracle through this. I prayed for
Right.
protection before we did it. Emmanuel went around the other little boy and picked up Landon and threw Landon, I believe. I mean, because he knew that he was going to save him.
Right. And, it's one of those things you have to look at the silver lining in things.
Yeah.
And, exactly, something traumatic, but look what's come out of it.
Yes.
A
Absolutely.
boy who is just fantastic. He's 11 now. He's thriving,
Mm.
which,
Yeah.
most people didn't think. Honestly, after I heard the news story broke, I'm like, I don't know how this child is going to survive this,
I
because
know. No.
I stubbed
Landon
my
knows too.
toe, and
People
I'm
see him
like
today
down.
and they think he's like in a wheelchair, or he limps or struggles with whatever.
Mhm.
No, he's on a hockey team. He's on a traveling baseball team. So much joy, so much love. Just happy to be alive. Loves life. And he also doesn't
That's
believe that this man, hurt him because he wanted to hurt him. He knows that he was hurting himself, and
oh,
that
and
only
that's
Jesus can save him.
right, and that's a good thing to teach kids. Kill it
Yeah.
with kindness.
Yes.
Just to understand, yeah, some people are jerks and things like that, but what are they going through? Are
Yeah.
they going through something and that's why they're exuding this rage or anger at you? It's displaced anger.
Yep.
And yeah, unfortunately, Landon was there, but
Mhm.
having a family for him the way you guys are is
Yeah.
what he needed. He,
Yeah.
God gave you him for a reason. this is
Absolutely.
probably part of it.
Yeah.
And it's probably made you become a better mother, a better
Oh, for
parent,
sure.
a better
I still look at
person.
him. I mean, he's got these scars all over, down his leg, down his stomach. He had 4 surgeries there, one on his head. And every day that I see him, I just thank God for those scars. He's alive. That was his
Mhm.
battle wound. We fought. We showed the whole world the miracle, and we came out stronger on the other side.
Oh,
And we don't hate
that's
anybody.
that's good. I mean, that's really good, and that's what people need to do. They, like I said, kill it with kindness, forgive, so you're
Yeah.
not walking around with all this rage and anger, so you don't end up doing something like
No.
this. It's,
And I
and
still
if
want
I
nothing. I mean, I don't want to have a relationship with this man. I want nothing. I
yeah,
don't want to hear any more details about him. I just hope that God can save him.
right. Well, thank you so much, Carrie. This is such a tragic to miraculous story. It shows the perseverance of having positive faith, whatever you have in your family, and work as a unit, as a family to come together. And these are the kind of things that we can do is we can miraculously help a boy who should
Yeah,
not be here. you
absolutely.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a beautiful story. Okay, well, the book is Miracle at the Mall. I'll have a link for that in today's description. Please rate and review and share this story. Share the kindness for the world. We need it. We need to
Yes.
push all this negative crap out of the way and focus on the positive and see, look at the silver lining in things. You may have lost your job, but this is giving you an opportunity to start something else. Your
Mhm.
son was thrown from a balcony, and miraculously now, you guys are a stronger family. He's had to overcome a lot, but it's probably made him a better person, and he'll be a better adult,
Absolutely.
forward. So
Yep.
thank you so much, Carrie. This was wonderful, and I'm glad you wrote a book to share your story of the
Yes.
positive and the miraculous recovery of Landon. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Now, that morning, 24-year-old Emmanuel Aranda entered the mall around 10 a.m. Now, he had been banned from the mall previously after repeated arrests in 2015, throwing objects, harassing people. Now, his mother later described him as like a zombie, lost in his own mind. And he was battling autism, depression, and schizophrenia, which has resulted in court ordered treatment. His mom just told reporters he needs help. Now, Emmanuel Aranda had forced mental health treatment because of multiple arrests for assault, property damage, even harassing women at the mall. These weren't just random run ins, there were warning signs of somebody in crisis. Now, he told police that he came to the mall looking to kill somebody, an adult, a woman. But when he felt rejected by all the women he would approach, his focus tragically shifted. Surveillance shows that he circled the balcony on the third floor by the Rainforest Cafe, then grabbed 5-year-old Landon and hurled him 39 to 40 feet over the balcony. So once he was arrested after trying to flee on the light rail, he bluntly just said that he knew he was in the wrong, but he just couldn't stop it. It was just rage that was building up in him. Now, while he was in custody, his mother confronted the shadows of her son's mind. When reporters asked, she simply just says he needs help. Now, here's the thing about a tragedy, it's rarely just one moment. Emmanuel Aranda's actions didn't just pop up overnight, they were a result of a fractured past and untreated mental illness. Understanding his story doesn't excuse the violence, but it reminds us how close sometimes we are to a disaster if the warning signs just go ignored. So if you are in a spot where you feel like you want to hurt yourself or hurt others, please contact the crisis hotline. Call 988, or you can text to 988, or you can chat to 988 via their website at 988lifeline.org. They understand life's challenges, and sometimes it can be very difficult. Whether you're facing mental health struggles, emotional distress, drug or alcohol abuse, abusive relationship, uh, they're there if you just need to talk to somebody. They have caring counselors that are there for you 24/7. So please take advantage of it. 988lifeline.org. You can call, text to 988 and talk. Let them help you through this difficult time. Let's tail end this episode with something a little bit more ridiculous, I guess. This guy could have definitely called 988. Now, I was a door dasher for a period of time during COVID just to get me out of the house and something to do. But I don't think I would have ever done this. An armed DoorDash dope busted over a tip demand. Now, angered that he did not receive a cash tip the night before on a $100 order, a DoorDash driver returned to a Washington home with a loaded gun on his hip to seek the gratuity. Now, investigators allege that Robert Delahant, 59, showed up last Thursday morning at a Vancouver residence of Kiana Kornikov, 19, to demand the tip. Delahant was loud and mouthy, according to Kornikov, when she told that to the police. Now, after Kornikov's father told Delahant to leave the family's property, the men got into an altercation during which Delahant allegedly reached for the holstered Ruger firearm. Anthony Avellino, 55, told cops he grabbed his gun and pushed the driver down the driveway.
We're tracking a wild story out of Vancouver that was caught on camera. A former DoorDash driver is now facing serious felony charges after a tense confrontation outside of a Vancouver home. Well, take a look. You can see the homeowner wrestling with the driver, who police say was armed with a gun.
Now, the homeowner disarmed him and removed the bullets from the gun before calling police. Incredibly, no one was hurt. It all started because police say the driver demanded cash for a tip for a previous order.
Fox 12's Michaela Armstrong joins us in the studio now with the details.
Pete Riel, deciding whether or not to leave a cash tip is, of course, the customer's decision. But one homeowner says it nearly cost him his life.
And we tussled for a couple steps.
Anthony Avellino says his family was having breakfast when he heard a loud knock on the door. His daughter answered, and to her surprise, it was her DoorDash driver from the night before.
Now, after leaving the residence in his Kia Soul, of course, he drives a Kia Soul. Delahant called police dispatch and advised that the house cheated him out of a tip, and he returned and was pushed. Cops said Delahant, who smelled of booze, admitted to drinking at home before returning to the client's residence. Oh, his regrets kicking in now. He told police after he was arrested that he shouldn't have come back and that he only lifted his shirt to show that he was armed after being confronted by Avellino. Now, a home security camera recorded the men wrestling over the firearm, according to Officer Christian Strom. Now, there's footage that also showed Avellino holding the gun after Delahant had been disarmed and shoved to the ground. Now, Delahant was charged with assault, harassment, and driving under the influence. His blood alcohol level was measured at more than twice the legal. Delahant was charged with assault, harassment, driving under the influence. His blood alcohol level was like twice the legal limit. And then court records indicate that he has had prior DUIs. Now, Delahant's DoorDash delivery days have finally ended, according to the company. Now, you know, when you were a kid and you did something bad, who was the first person you always blamed? The devil, right? Well, Walmart shoplifter claimed the devil made her do it. 73-year-old woman told Florida cops when she was arrested Saturday evening for allegedly shoplifting merchandise at Walmart. Now, police say that Angela Vasquez Tamborda was stopped at a Walmart security when she sought to exit the store with $121.85 worth of goods like shampoo, socks, things like that. Now, Tamborda told cops that she had stashed the items in a plastic bag that she brought into the store. Now, according to investigators, Tamborda initially denied swiping the merch, but then later admitted that she did attempt to leave the store without paying for those items. Now, as for a motive for the alleged larceny, Tamborda stated that the devil told her to buy these things for somebody else, but she didn't have the money, so she attempted to leave without paying for them. The devil asking you to buy something for somebody else, isn't that kind of a good deed? I don't think that's in his job description or purview. Now, an arrest affidavit does not further go into the conversations that Tamborda had with the devil, who has not been charged in any connection with this misdemeanor retail theft at all, just to let you know. Now, Tamborda was released from jail after posting her $150 bond. While the judge has ordered her to stay away from Walmart. Tamborda is not barred, though, from contacting with any mythical personifications of evil. Now, this next story, I might just have to read it. It speaks for itself. Now, a drunk, pantless man told police his name was Charles Dickens. It was the tale of two identities. Vincent Conroy, 56, was allegedly drunk walking around a Florida parking lot wearing only a t-shirt and no pants. His private parts were on public display for everyone to see, and Conroy was spotted with 2 wine bottles and a can of beer. I mean, I've heard of having a glass of wine with a good book, but 2 bottles and a can of beer? Yeah, makes sense why his pants were off now. When confronted by police, he asked to identify himself. The subject provided the name Charles Dickens. It was later discovered his name was Vincent Conroy. Now, in addition to an open container and exposure of sexual organs count, Conroy was charged with providing a false name to law enforcement. Now, after a day of lockup at a local bleak house, Conroy was freed Thursday on his own recognizance by the county judge. What a weird name to even bring up. I mean, you're walking around half naked, and the first name you think is Charles Dickens? Ah, I wonder what kind of fictional story Charles Dickens could come up with this one. Now, here's a guy who is like really lost the sense of reality. A man 45 committed battery after being denied free refills at a kid's lemonade stand. He was pissed off that he was denied a free refill at a lemonade stand run by children. A Florida man aggressively grabbed a female victim, adopting a fighting stance, and warned that he would beat her up if he didn't give him a free refill of his lemonade. Now, investigators say that Stephen Cusimano, 45, was walking in Clearwater neighborhood around 7:30 p.m. Last Tuesday when he observed a lemonade stand being run by several juveniles and the victim. Now, Cusimano purchased 1 glass of lemonade and then became very angry when he was not allowed a refill cup, according to the criminal complaint. Now, Cusimano then allegedly grabbed the victim by the wrist aggressively while standing in a fighting stance, telling the victim that he would beat her up. Cusimano left the residential area on foot but was quickly apprehended by an officer. Now, during the questioning, Cusimano reportedly admitted to the entire sequence of the events, but he claimed he grabbed the victim due to her shit talking to him. The complaint did not list the age of the victim. Now, Cusimano, whose cops described as a transient who was charged with a felony battery, enhanced court due to Cusimano's extensive rap sheet, which includes multiple prior convictions for battery, as well as convictions for trespassing, narcotic possessions, disorderly intoxication, assault with a deadly weapon, theft, and disorderly conduct. He is locked up in the county jail in lieu of a $5,000 bond, and he has pleaded not guilty. Jesus, dude, it's a kid's lemonade stand. Pay the frickin' dollar and get a refill. My God. What would you do if you looked out your window and you saw somebody trespassing and that person that is trespassing happens to be Ronald McDonald? Florida man dressed as Ronald McDonald arrested for trespassing. Okay. You look like a clown, the cop told Christopher Marlowe after stuffing him into the squad car. No shit, I'm a clown, stupid, replied Marlowe, who was wearing a Ronald McDonald costume and a red nose. Now, police confronted Marlowe at the Palm Bay, Florida shopping center, for which he had been previously tagged for trespassing. But as seen on the body-worn police footage, Marlowe struggled with officers before he was knocked down to the ground and handcuffed. One cop even been seen removing an orange replica gun from his pocket of Marlowe's yellow pants. Now, completing the clownish look, Marlowe wore a red and white striped shirt with a yellow vest, which had a skull logo on it in the place of the McDonald's golden arches. He was not wearing oversized shoes, however, although that would have been really funny to see him run as the cops chased him with big clown shoes on. The search of Barlow's backpack turned out multiple other clown outfits and a pack of 10 red noses. Now he's charged with trespassing, a misdemeanor, and resisting officers with violence, which is a felony. Now Marlowe was booked into the Brevard County. Now his rap sheet includes convictions for trespassing, resisting arrest, possession of drugs, and in January he pleaded no contest to a possession of methamphetamines in a glass pipe. Sentenced to 65 days in jail, Marlowe had been arrested in that case after causing a disturbance outside of a McDonald's restaurant, of course. Where else would Ronald McDonald harass people at, right? Oh, I tell you. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed the episode with Kari. The crime itself was horrific and traumatizing, but to see what can come out of those instances is very important. And those are the kind of things I like to shed light on because we need more positivity in the world right now. We are all in this dark ball of negativity that we all need to just find a way to get. So I hope you enjoyed this story and got out of it what I got out of it. And that's that silver lining that even though something traumatic happened, what good has come out of it. And that has definitely played a huge part in the recovery of Landen. And now he's thriving. And it just makes my heart happy knowing that he has not made a full recovery, but he can just be a kid. And that's the important thing. Thank you guys so much. And please check me out at mysteriesmayhemandmerlot.net. You can also check out my link tree. You can follow me on all my social medias. Check out other things that I do, like Love and Lotus Tarot. If you like some tarot readings, I'd be happy to do that for you. So please visit my link tree. It's got everything that I have involved, and those links will be in today's description as well. Thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you all next week.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Mysteries, Mayhem, and Merlot. And until our next case, my armchair detectives, stay safe, stay vigilant, and stay aware. I'll see you right here next week on Mysteries, Mayhem, and Merlot.